Hello, all. Welcome to the very first episode of the Angel Astrology School. And in today's episode, we are going to be answering the big question.
Where did astrology come from? Okay, guys, so you probably are curious and want to know where the heck did this ancient knowledge come from, and did we come up with this information ourselves? So, actually, if we go ahead and look back in time, the very first civilization that we are taught about is where the two rivers right here are. So, where the Tigris and the Euphrates River is where the people of Mesopotamia came. So, these are the Sumerian people, and this is the ancient place where we call Mesopotamia, modern day Iraq. Okay, so this was originally first practiced in Babylon during the second millennium BC. Okay, and the stars and the planets at the time were used to interpret omens from the gods. So at the time, only the priests, the highest of the priests, were determined on how the celestial bodies were going to impact society, king, the state themselves. And so that's who was the ancient astrologers at the time. So the Sumerians at the time were very obsessed with time, and they paid attention to tracking the sky and the seasons. So they had two different calendrical systems. They primarily use a lunar calendar system. So it's going to be based off of the 30-day lunar month. And this was based off of the Sumerian. So they practiced and followed the lunar cycle, and this was based off of the Sumerian god named Nana. Now, they also did have a seasonal solar cycle, so seasonal solar calendar at the same time. So they were doing two calendars at the same time, but a different god was in charge of that calendar. So the second god was sun god Utu, or Ut. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly. And so, when the cycles of the sun, the rising and the setting of the stars and the planets were aligned with the lunar time, then it was considered a very fortuitous time. But on the contrast, when they were not working together at the same time, it was considered to be a very bad time. So these were originally the Sumerian people, or what we thought the Sumerian people looked at the time. This is some of their art. Eventually, they got overtaken by a different civilization, and the civilization that took over was the Akkadian people. So the Akkadian people are these people that came from the mountainous region. So let me show you what the region looks like so you can remember a little bit. So they came to from the mountainous region you see over here, and they came down and they took over Mesopotamia and that area. And so a lot of the Akkadian information that we have today, and why we even know what the ancient Sumerians were learning, was because they translated their information from Sumerian to Akkadian using something called the cuneiform tablets. So much of the ancient Sumerian knowledge that we know today, the myths, the legends, their astrological omens, some of the ancient Sumerian gods, this was because of the translation. So this remained a prominent figure during the in the near the east through the late Babylonian period. So they were transcribed into Akkadian, and then later we were able to translate what they said thanks to the cuneiform tablets. Also, I do want to mention at this time that when the Akkadians brought their knowledge, this was also, if you read the Bible or are into research, you can see the Book of Enoch, and it'll talk about the Akkadian people and the information and knowledge that was taught to the Akkadian people at the time. So the Babylonian astrology began to become canon, and they used the EAE, which was based off of three different gods. I'll go ahead and tell you guys who the three gods were at the time. Have Enuma, Anu, and also Enlil. I will go a little bit more in detail about who these gods were at the time, and we're gonna have a lot more information, but that's for a later episode. So there was about 68 to 70 different cuneiform tablets that we have today, and of those tablets there's about 6,500 to 7,000 different omens that became the hallmark and the base of Babylonian astrology and the astrology that we use today. So it is later on to believe that in history it was compiled into canonical form, and that was going to be between 1595 to 1157 BCE, and that was during the cassette era. Now, there are earlier versions dated to the Old Babylonian period around 1950 BC to 1595 BCE. And then another well known astrological catalog, and we have a whole couple of chapters in the next couple of chapters about this, is called the Mul-Apin, or it's MUL period APIN, the Plough Star Constellations. So it's concerned with 66 stars and constellations, their rising, their setting, and culmination dates. It has all of the mathematical forms on how they were able to determine what these astrological things meant. And its canonical text has been dated to about 1000 BCE, and they're likely remnants of much older Sumerian astrology. There's probably remnants of much older astrological texts and information, but as far as we know, the Malapin is the oldest Babylonian text that we have, and it is literally the base of astrology today. Okay, guys, so that is the very first episode, and it's answering the question, where did astrology come from? Now, you guys want to see some more astrology information, you want more history on astrology, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things you need to do, and I will be coming back with some more information. So yeah, let's have a conversation, and if you have anything to add, please let me know.